Hello everyone, and thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Vegan Persian Cooking with me, Mohammad. So today I'm going to teach you how to make Fesenjoon. Some of you might remember that I've already done this recipe in my Instagram stories, but I wanted to kind of reshoot it a little bit, make it shinier, and show you a little bit of a variation to the recipe as well. Stay with me and we'll find out how this one goes. So for this week's episode, this is what you'll be needing. I have 1.5 cup of walnuts. You can technically make this with 1 cup or 2 cups actually. It depends on you, but I'm using 1.5 cups, and that's because today I'm going to use some butternut squash to kind of thicken the stew a little bit. So this is 1/2 cup. Technically you can have 1 cup of this and then do 1 cup of walnuts. So just depending on your ratio, you can go that way. It's also important to note that if you're using butternut squash, your stew will be a little bit on the sweeter side. So if you like it tart, maybe use more walnuts. This is also optional. You can just use walnuts. So this is 2 cups of lentils. They're halfway cooked. They're not fully cooked yet. So this was about maybe 15 minutes of cooking. I have 1.5 onions. You could do 1 onion, you could do 2 onions. I think this is the perfect amount for how much food I'm making. You need some pomegranate paste. This is robba anar. You can find this at Persian supermarkets. I'm using 1 pomegranate also. This is optional. I'm just going to use this as a garnish for decoration of the stew. Turmeric, as always. This is 3 cups of rice that I've soaked overnight with a little bit of salt. You can, again, if you wanted to, you could serve this on a bit of quinoa as well. So just use your own judgment. And this is optional, but I have 1 potato for the tahdig, which is the crispy part at the bottom of the rice. So if you wanted to use potato tahdig, this is also an option to have. Just 1 potato will be fine. Okay everyone, so I have my 1.5 cups of walnuts here. I'm gonna put them in the blender. Just gonna add a cup of water as well. Not too much water, but this will just help it blend faster. So with this, we don't want it to turn into a paste. We just want it to be a little bit more crushed. So I'm just gonna do like a... Okay, so I have my onions frying here in some coconut oil and turmeric. I think once they turn a little bit translucent, I'm going to now add my crushed walnuts and the liquid that it was produced in. So you see like all of that. So you see what size the walnuts are. It's not a paste, it's just like a little bit more crushed than it was before. That's how we want it. And then I'm pouring some hot water on top of it as well. So I've added about 1 liter of water to this. I'm gonna now put the lid on, bring it to a boil. And once it comes to a boil, then you want to let it simmer for about 1.5 hours. So quite a bit of time. And I'll show you what it looks like once it's simmered for 1.5 hours. Okay everyone, so this has been cooking down for about 1.5 hours. You see that it's turned a brown color, and I'm not sure if the camera is picking it up, but there's a thick layer of oil on top of it. That's the walnut natural oil, so I didn't really add any oil to it. I'm gonna add the cooked butternut squash into the stew now. So this is about my 4th spoon of pomegranate molasses here. It's a teaspoon, so maybe I'll do a little bit more actually. So this is good. I've turned it up a bit. I'm gonna let it boil for another 1/2 hour, and then we'll add the lentils then. Okay everyone, so I've moved my stew to the back burner while it's simmering, and I'm just going to start cooking my rice. As you see, again, with Persian rice, I have about 1 finger, like up to there, of water on top of the rice. I've added some salt and some coconut oil, and I'm going to bring it to a boil, and then once it comes to a boil, I'm going to wait for all the water to just go away, and then once it's gone, then I'll show you what to do after that. Alright everyone, so as you see, there's a little bit of water left here, but I think this is good. I'm going to drain it, and then I'll show you what you have to do. Okay, so in the same pot, I'm just going to add some coconut oil. So I'm just mixing it around, making sure all of the bottom is just oiled really nicely. Okay, so now I'm just going to layer this bottom part with my potato slices that I've sliced like this. So you see I've layered the bottom with potato. I'm just gonna bring my rice back and I'm just gonna pour it back in here now. So my temperature is about halfway on the stove and I'm gonna put the lid on and let it simmer for about 5 minutes. Okay everyone, so you see that it's produced a little bit of steam now and it's sizzling. I think this is the right time to just turn it down and let it simmer for about 40 minutes. Before you do that, just make sure that you cover your lid with a cloth and then you put it down onto it nice and tight onto the pot and let it simmer for about 40 minutes or so. And just keep checking in to make sure that it's not burning, especially from the bottom. Alright, so I've moved the rice to the back burner for now. It's simmering on a low heat and I'm just going to deal with my stew that's been simmering for like an hour or more now. So you see that it's a bit thicker. It's still not quite as thick as I'd like it to be, but I think now is about as good of a point as any to add my half-cooked lentils. I'm also just going to add some salt to this. Again, about 1 teaspoon. You can salt more as you need. So again, I'm gonna let this simmer for another 20 minutes or so, and hopefully by then it should be as thick as we'd like it to be. I'll show you the consistency once it's ready. Okay everyone, so as you see, our stew is more or less ready. It's the right thickness. It could be even thicker, so if you have more time, just let it simmer for as long as you can, like 4 hours. This has been simmering at this point for about 2 hours, and it's looking really great. And I'll show you, so I'm just gonna plate everything for you all, and I'll show you how that looks. Okay everyone, so something that I forgot to mention is that yes, this was basically ready to go, but I tasted it and it was a little sour for my taste. Still, even with the pumpkin that I added. So I added about 2 teaspoons of maple syrup in there and now it's perfect. If you find it to be a little too tart, just add some sugar, some honey, maple syrup, whatever you like. But now it's tasting perfect actually, so I will plate it. Okay everyone, so here it is. I've plated it. My tahdig actually turned out so beautiful. Look at that. Oh, I'm so happy. So here we have it. There's a little bit of rice under it and a little bit of stew, and on top of it I've put some fresh pomegranate. It's kind of a garnish and you don't need it, but honestly if you can have it, it makes the stew really, really nice. So thanks for watching and I hope that you like this one. I love this one, so if you make it, please let me know. Thanks again. Until next time.